top 5 of anything.
Oh, look at
this.
this.
Rock, you're covered by stars.
So I'm good. It's just a bit spiky under my chin, but it's all right.
I'm going to put you at the top. I'll take one for the
No,
team.
I was better. I was up higher, a bit higher. You put me back.
It's okay. It's okay.
All right.
It's all right.
I'll probably be better off down there, Stu, to be honest.
Yeah, okay. Oh, there you go.
Oh,
yeah,
look at that.
Good.
Yeah, there you go.
That works.
Yeah.
Right, chaps. I think it's only the second one of these that we've done, where we just top 5 of anything, as the name suggests. We kind of just list our top 5s of random things. And this week we're going to do top 5 pop culture villains. In because it's Halloween, we thought, well, let's do something villainous. Let's concentrate on those villains that we love to hate, or hate to love, whichever way you want to look at it. Yeah. So we've each come to the table with our top 5. The way this will work, gentlemen, is we'll do our 5 and 4 quickly. We'll kind of reel those off, each of us, and then we'll focus in on our 3, 2, 1. Yeah.
Okay. I haven't put them in order, so I'm gonna have to quickly put them in order.
Yeah, you need to have them in. Yeah. Well, neither have I. I'm doing it. I'm winging this.
Okay, I've done it.
But what do we think makes a good villain? Or by answering that, will we be giving too much away? Do you think?
I think something that has an effect on you and sticks with you.
Yes.
You know, we can remember. You can list off loads of villains, but something if it gave you nightmares, or even like just looking at the front cover of the VHS would scare you. You know, or personality. Personality, obviously, but I think just a thing that haunts you, something that touches you.
Huh, Jimmy Savile.
He's my number 1. Yeah.
I think it's a very personal thing, isn't it? I think a lot of these we might, certainly mine, you'll look at and think, what are you on about? But I think you'll find that when we talk about them, how they affect us personally is probably going to factor into why we've chosen them a great deal. I think you're right, Jimmy. I think you're right. But we've kind of widened our catchment area, if you like. So we've gone pop culture villains, so we can bring them in from anywhere. You know, because I was conscious that, well, we might struggle to get like film villains or whatever. So we thought, well, just bring it in from anywhere. Video games, films,
books,
whatever. Comics, current events, whatever. Just bring it all in. Bring it all in, man.
Bring it in.
So, Rock, as our guest, have you what's your number 5 and then your number 4, please?
My number 5 is Wurzel Gummidge.
Is he a villain?
No, but in my mind, and I love John Pertwee as Gummidge, but I don't know if you've seen the more recent one that they've tried resurrecting him, and he looks like
Mackenzie Crook.
Oh, yeah, scares the living bejesus out of me. He's a hideous looking. He's supposed to be all lovely for children and things, and he looks like one of the nasty characters from Jack Sparrow. So I'm putting him in room 401 or whatever it is.
I feel I need to get a tab open here so we can get some pictures up.
So yeah, Mackenzie Crook as Wurzel Gummidge is your number 5.
Yeah,
scary villain.
Yeah, it's a funny old list, Jimmy.
He's such a lovely guy, Mackenzie.
I know, he's a lovely fella. Don't get me wrong. And Britannia and all that stuff, he's very, very good. But as Wurzel Gummidge, he scared the absolute. Couldn't be watching it, mate. Sorry.
So,
fair enough.
Oh, actually, do you know what? It's like something out of.
It's horrible, mate.
Pirates, ironically.
Yeah,
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Exactly. Now, John Pertwee as Gummidge, apart from when he screwed off his head, that always, he was a lovely character, and he was owie Wurzel. Look at him, look.
Yeah, it's body horror, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like his face has been.
No, it's not. It's just there's like. If I was a 4-year-old, I'm sorry, but I'd be running to the hills. There's no way I wouldn't be wanting to watch that thing going on. That's my number 5.
Go on.
My number 4. That's a proper good one. Moriarty.
Oh.
From the most amazing, most recent Sherlock, with of course Cumberbatch. Yeah. Who and that Moriarty I think is absolutely superbly acted, and he's so villainous and menacing.
He's
and
very good, isn't he? Hey, Sherlock.
Yeah,
such a weird voice, isn't he?
Yeah.
Can't remember the actor's name.
No, is he Irish or?
Yeah.
I don't think.
Irish. He was in Fleabag as well. He's
Yes,
very good in Fleabag.
yeah, he's actually a really good actor. But I thought he's because he's meant to. I mean, Sherlock is like autistically genii, and then this guy's like he's even worse, but he's evil, and he has that kind of, you think you've killed me, Sherlock, but I'm going to come back. You're not going to get rid of me. There
So
he
that
is.
fella.
Yeah,
That's
Andrew
the boy, Andrew Scott. There you go.
There we go.
Yeah, I thought that was good.
So does he do particularly dastardly things? Then does he?
Have you not seen Sherlock?
No,
Stu?
I'm not.
Oh,
I'm not a Sherlock.
mate.
I'm not a Sherlock Holmes.
You don't,
You
need
don't
to
have to be. It's just some of the best TV that has been produced in certainly the last 40 years.
Interesting.
You've got to watch it. I mean, it made Cumber. He's brilliant in it, and the whole kind of what's he call his mind palace, where he kind of goes in there, do these most amazing graphics and stuff. Yeah, no, you'd love it, Stu. Honestly, you'd love it. It's very intelligent.
I really liked Mads Mikkelsen's brother is in it. He plays the villain.
Yes.
He's very good. When he licks that woman's face.
Oh,
it's so good.
It's just great. Because it's kind of contemporary, Stu. It's set in the modern times, but mate, watch it. Just watch one episode.
And Mark Gatiss from the League of Gentlemen is Mycroft, his brother.
Yeah, he writes it as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think
I believe he does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Him and Russell? Is Russell T Davies involved in it?
T Davis might be, maybe.
Possibly.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rock went. Your number 5 was Wurzel Gummidge, and number 4 was Moriarty from Sherlock. Okay, thank you, Jimmy. Your 5 and 4, please.
Okay, I'm going from what affected me the most and what sort of scared me the most.
That's all you can do, brother.
Or affected, not just scare. So in 5, I'm going to put the Xenomorph from Alien and Aliens.
Geiger.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, famously designed by H.R. Geiger, the pervy artist. Yeah. Head that shaped like a penis.
Was he Swedish or Norwegian or something, Geiger? It was Scandinavian, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Scandalous. Yeah.
But I remember watching the Aliens with... Was it Aliens or Alien with my mum and my sister when I was about 8, and it scared the life out of me. Before Prometheus came out, me and my friend Will went back and watched Alien just to sort of get ready for Prometheus. And it still holds back. It's so intense.
Timeless.
Much scarier when it's someone in a suit as well. They did a really good job. And in the first Alien film, they did the Jaws thing where you don't see it a lot. You know, it comes, it just appears, bits appear, and so good. Such a incredible design. I mean, how they come up with that?
Just one of my favourite films. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I think what you said there, Jimmy, about the first Alien film was all about what you couldn't see. It's that fear of the unknown, not knowing what was out there and just getting flashes of it. I think that the alien from that first film, probably if you saw like the suit in like broad daylight, it probably looked pretty rubbish. But because the film was so darkly, well lit. Oh yeah, like Rock there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it made it more effective, didn't it?
But the head was still great. The lighting obviously added to it, but it was still great. And the way it moved and just appeared out of nowhere and stuff, brilliant stuff. That's my number 5. My number 4, I'm gonna put Dr. Frankenfurter from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yes,
he is my number 4 as a psychopath. As a psychopath and as an incredible character from a film that some people might find scary. Just an amazing character by Tim Curry there. I love Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's my wife's probably top 3 favourite films, and I love it. And he is it's such an iconic character. Oh, look at that.
It's the guy from Friday Night Live.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
He'd do a good version, I reckon. Or
he would.
Do a good version.
Yeah.
But yeah, look at that. Brilliant. Wonderful.
Well, I've been delaying the inevitable. I need to rank mine, didn't I? Okay, let's have a look at my list.
Nothing wrong with a good rank.
Yeah, what have we got?
Is Tim Curry still alive, or is he...
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he's not great.
No.
He had a terrible stroke, bless him.
Did he?
Did he?
Yeah, he's in a wheelchair. His speech is off. It's quite sad.
Right, I'm going to go with Jason Voorhees, but specifically from the Friday the 13th video game for the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Right.
Very specific.
Not the films, the video game, because I remember playing that around someone's house who shall not be named, Voldemort. And
just give him a name then.
Yeah, don't worry.
No, that's his name. That's his name to me and Stu now.
But the game is just so however old we were at the time, playing that game, it's just so terrifying because you're basically being chased by Jason throughout the whole game, as you are in the films. But from what I remember, there's like a side-scrolling element. You're basically set at Camp Crystal Lake. You're trying to escape Jason, and there's like side-scrolling bits where you've got to jump over rabbits and stuff, which you think, oh, this is quite cute and very Mario-like. But then there's parts when you go into like this first-person mode, when you go into a cabin, and then you're like kind of maneuvering around the cabins in first-person mode. It's quite what's the word I'm looking for? It's quite I'll forget it. But like you'll then enter a door, and then there'll be Jason Voorhees just there, and then there'll be like this horrific. I always remember this horrific machete. A picture of a machete in like Jason's mask or something. You know, I think it was like the VHS cover or something. But it was just terrifying. Thinking about it now, I'm sweating now. Yeah. So Jason Voorhees.
I think I've just put the link in the private link there for you. I think that's it.
What, the game?
Yeah.
We're gonna have a clip of the game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here we go. That was it. Yeah. Christ. Oh my God.
Oh, can we see it?
I didn't mean to traumatise you, dude. You've still got some hours before the kids and the wife get home. I did the last thing we need.
Here we go. Yeah.
Coupons available as well. Look at that.
So yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Like you kind of like walking around the. I guess these are the cabins at the time, and then like fucking Jason appears just with an axe or it looks like a
giant toothbrush.
I will get your cavities. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that was it. It was the knife in the eye. I thought it was a knife in a potato.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
knife in a potato.
Yeah, that terrified me as a young lad. But
and there's the video, the VHS thing. Look.
Yeah. So there we go.
Yeah.
Thank you for getting that, Rock. Yeah, that's my number 5.
Wow.
Jason Voorhees from the NES game. Like I say,
and 4.
Very personal to me. Number 4 is Babadook.
From the film?
The Babadook from the film The Babadook. Let's get rid of this. It's a creature, for want of a better word, that, I don't know, just symbolises... Oh, we spoke about The Babadook before. Really great film if you haven't seen it. Like
I haven't seen The Babadook.
Themes of grief and dealing with death and confronting death and how you deal with,
God,
looks
like a guy from the League of Gentlemen.
Yeah, very, very similar actually, Rock. But it's that concept of I fear death quite a lot. I think we've spoken about this before on the show. I fear death quite a lot, and to have a character that symbolises that fear and grief and everything surrounding.
I'm closer
death.
to it than you are, dude. So
I know, granted. But as I think it's one of the great kind of horror characters that have come through the last few years, and for me, the Babadook just symbolises everything I fear about.
Can you bring up a picture of the Babadook?
Yeah.
I've never seen a picture of him a couple of years back.
I've got a link if you want
for a Halloween quiz.
I'll just Google it. Thank you.
But
I've got it in a link there if you want it.
It's not just from the film, right? It's an old
it's
character,
an old,
isn't it? The Babadook.
Old book or something.
An old legend.
Image. Yeah, here we go. Well, see, that's terrifying. I mean, visually, it's quite terrifying as well. Hang on, let me get it up.
Yeah.
Conscious you're not seeing it.
It's League of Gentlemen. That's how I see. That's all I can see.
Hello, Dave.
That's all I can see.
Dave?
You're my wife now.
Yeah, that is horrible.
Yeah.
You're my wife now.
So is that picture on the right? Is that him in the film?
Yes.
Is that he's him in the film?
I believe it is. Is it? I think so. Oh look, that's like an old timey one. Look. There you go.
Yeah.
So
Old
perhaps open
timey
it.
wimey.
But yeah, I mean, it is.
Yeah,
I think
it's horrid.
as a visual, it's quite.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it's a very pleasant image, but I think it's what it symbolises to me that's that I find quite terrifying. So yeah, my number 4 is the Babadook.
Nice.
Babadook. Right, now I'll come round robin on number 3s. Rock, your number 3, please.
Well, I may have been a bit tongue-in-cheek on this one, Stu, if I'm
fine, that's
honest.
what we do.
But he is fair. I mean, I think he's scarier than Jimmy. So I chose Jonathan King because he's a disturbing character and a disturbed character at that.
Who?
Jonathan King, he did a song in the 60s called Everyone's Gone to the Moon. And then he went on to be a record producer.
You'll know him when I bring it up. Really.
Yeah, and ultimately a convicted paedophile.
This isn't our top 5 paedophiles.
Well, no, but I met Jimmy Savile and I found him all the more pleasant than Jonathan King.
Yeah, I've heard good stories about Jimmy.
But Jonathan King is just, I mean, look at his squirt. You just want to mate. He looks like he's a Cabbage Patch doll villain. It's just,
Yeah, he looks awful.
And he was, to be fair, I mean, he used to have a couple of good shows, but he was a raving Tory as well. He was a massive,
get him in the bin.
Just can't be doing with that.
So he's a Tory pedo, and he's only on
Tory
number 3.
pedo, yeah.
Gee, who's at number 2 and number 1?
Oh yeah, they get better.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Jonathan King for Rock's number 3. Jimmy, you're number 3.
Okay, my number 3 is going to be another creation by Tim Curry, Pennywise from It, the TV movie, which was a 2-parter, and that character was I think way more scary than the new one played by Skarsgård. It's absolutely horrific. I watched some of the new one, and it's so much CGI and just nothing. Whereas this one, I remember as a child, was terrifying. Such a simple costume.
That image is horrific. Look at it with his teeth. I don't like clowns in general.
No, who does?
No.
Who does?
Yeah.
And he even looks a bit like Jonathan King there as well. He's got it's really doubled up on me, that has.
But I remember seeing this round. Whose was I round? I think I was in Scotland visiting some family or friends of family, and they put this on, and I remember just seeing bits of it from like behind a sofa, and it was just terrifying. Another Tim Curry. I mean, one of the best actors, Tim Curry.
Yeah, love him.
He just brought this to life, all in practical, and just obviously it all went wrong at the end when he turns into a big spider. But anytime he's the clown, terrifying.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's an iconic horror image for me.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Pennywise. Curry's Pennywise, definitely. Yeah.
Ant says, have we heard of the Terrifier? Have you guys
I was
heard
going to
of it?
mention this. Thank you, Ant. Yes, because the Terrifier is it's like the latest horror film that's you generate once a generation you'll get a horror film that there's urban myths of people throwing up or fainting whilst
yeah.
I haven't heard of the Terrifier.
Blair Witch. Terrifier 2 is currently in the out in cinematic release, and let's see if I can find a picture. It's basically, speaking of clowns, it's I think it's like the next great.
Is it called Skit or something like that? The clown. It's like
next great horror kind of icon, if you like.
Because Ant reviewed it on his show yesterday.
Did he?
Yeah, he pulled up the trailer and.
I've seen the image of that clown.
Yeah.
It's like a clown crossed with a mime.
It's incredible.
Yes.
The two worst things you could ever find combined into one. Yeah.
That is an incredible costume.
That is good. That's
nasty,
good.
isn't it?
And people are allegedly throwing up and or fainting in the cinema.
Yeah, of course they are.
Because it's so incredibly gory. But
that's what Ant said.
Jesus.
It was a gore. It's a gore fest. It just goes all out to be gory rather than anything else.
I couldn't watch it. I don't think I could watch it.
No, I don't think I could now. I used to be able to handle horror films, but not anymore. Not anymore. But that looks like a great iconic image. It's fusing, like I say, the mime. He's got a little top hat. Look.
I know. I don't know what that part was all about.
But he's got the mouth coming out as well, which is like black and charred or something. Like,
Oh yeah, protruding.
Jesus.
Peter Dinklage's hat.
Have you been like bet that you can't say Peter Dinklage 20 times?
I would never do a penny more on this show.
So Pennywise for Jimmy's number 3. My number 3. Well, I need to go back to the list.
Yeah.
So I've done Babadook. I've done Voorhees. Is it that, or is it that?
Come on, shoot. 5.
Clarence Bodica from RoboCop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I love
Is
Clarence.
that the metal fella?
No.
Well, RoboCop is, yeah.
Oh, yeah, but Clarence Bodica's not the metal fella, is he?
Oh right, okay.
He's the villain from RoboCop, and he is terrifying to a 10-year-old boy who's been allowed to watch RoboCop. He's just, I don't know, he's just cold-hearted. He's just ruthless. You know, that execution scene where they just blow Murphy to bits, and he just goes,
The very beginning. Yeah.
Incredible.
shoots him in the head. It's and played so well by Kurtwood Smith.
Many people would know him as the nice dad from That 70s Show.
Yeah.
That's who he is, isn't he? He's in a brilliant episode of Star Trek Voyager as well. Really good episode, yeah.
He was in a load of stuff at one point, wasn't he? Man with 2 surnames.
But yeah, this is one of the great cinematic villains, in my opinion.
Good show. Good show.
Really is.
What about when they bring him in to be arrested and they pass him the piece of paper to sign and he just
it's-
gobs blood onto it?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure in the documentary, the movies that made us, he says that he ad-libbed that. Like, he just came
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he said he does. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, what? He's so charismatic as well, though. You know, you can't help but think he's kind of a cool guy.
Best villains are, aren't they? You think of the Bond villains, and I mean, all your
it's
Rishi
supremely cool.
Sunak.
So yeah, my number 3, Clarence Bodica from RoboCop. Awesome. Rock, your number 2.
Well, I'm gonna have to tell you guys, I've changed it 3 times now, and
Well,
I've settled.
no, that's fine.
I'd started with, I think I had J.R. Ewing because he's a pretty cool villain, and then I went for what I forgot now, but I've ended up with Noddy. Now I know that you're thinking Noddy's a lovely character, but I've got to tell you, going through all these traumatic memories and things, it reminded me of when I was about 4 years old, and when you play with kids, I got locked in an understairs cupboard, and I just remember this rubber Noddy staring at me, and I couldn't get out, and I can smell the rubber to this day, and I thought he was going to kill me. This thing, because so rubber noddies do it for me now, and therefore I think he deserves to be number 2 as villainous as they come. Noddy.
Well, that's fair. And like I say, I think we this process is probably uncovering some deep
We're
roots.
letting it out. I know. I feel 10 years younger. Thanks, guys.
It's therapeutic, isn't it? A rubber noddy. Yeah.
A rubber noddy.
How big was the rubber noddy?
Well, I mean, I was 4 years old, but I've got to imagine it must have been about the size of my drink bottle.
Oh, that's pretty
It
big.
wasn't massive, but you know, like you don't, but when I was a kid, you'd have these rubber toys with wire in them so you could bend them.
Yeah.
Of course, you could poke the wire out and slap it in your eye, and you don't have it anymore. But it was of that kind of a thing. But maybe it fell off the shelf or something, but something traumatized me. And Noddy, just in his little bell and his horrible villainous bell that he's got, he's going to rip his head off.
So are you triggered by sounds of bells now?
No, just Noddy. And his large shoes, huge feet, Noddy.
There's a Noddy joke, isn't there? Why does Noddy wear a bell on his hat?
Don't know.
Because he's a cunt.
I knew that was coming. Oh, it wasn't because Big Ears wouldn't pay the ransom or whatever it was.
Oh, no,
It's
No, just a really horrible joke.
Brilliant.
Jimmy, your number 2.
My number 2 is someone who I alluded to earlier, who I had the recurring nightmare about when I lived in the pub, and that is Zelda from Terrorhawks.
Mate.
Oh yeah, she was horrible.
Right.
Yeah.
Recently, I watched some of Terrorhawks on Prime. They'd put it all on Prime. It's actually quite an adult, funny show. But that Zelda, I mean, look at that little preview there, Stu. If you just go back, I mean, there she is.
Man.
But actually, there's a person with Zelda as well. I didn't realise they're androids. Zelda's an android. Look, that thing next to her. Look at that thing next to her. The yellow hair. I mean, that's classic, isn't it? The woman from EastEnders.
She even looks like her though.
That wasn't the voice of her.
That's just who they modelled it on.
Look at Sandy Toksvig next to Zelda. Yeah.
Sandy Toksvig.
How they're really scary puppets.
And they're me next to Zelda.
And then,
Yeah.
but yeah, I wouldn't. In the pub that I lived in, there was a long corridor that you had to go down to get to the toilet. And as I say, it was an old pub, and I'd come out of the lounge and I'd fucking run to the toilet, like belt, and then run back to get back to the lounge where my mum and sister would be watching whatever. And sometimes they'd shut me out when I'd been a bit naughty. They'd shut me out the lounge, and I'd be in that hallway banging, and Alec and my mum's going, let him in. My sister's going, no, he can't come in. I'm going,
Zelda. Yeah, it's funny how that stuff trauma. But you see, this is the thing. Like Disney always do, it contains mild peril, but it was put the shit of Christ up a kid.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you might be mild peril to you, Disney, but there's generations of traumatized kids that are like, what happened to Bambi's mum?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's on Prime or Netflix, on one of them, because I watched them recently. And it's actually worth, as I say, it's worth a watch. It's quite funny and quite. It's not like what's it called? 5, 4, 3 to 1. What they call Thunderbirds,
yeah.
which is for kids. This is not for kids. This is
this
for adults.
Was it Jerry Anderson?
No, that's exactly what I was going to ask. It says Jerry Anderson there, doesn't it? But
What did Jerry Anderson do?
Thunderbirds.
Oh, he did do it, did he? Right.
Yeah.
Captain Scarlet and all
UFO.
Look at it, though. It's great.
Space 1999.
The blue rinse there.
Yeah, look at bingo. But I just remember thinking they were crappy looking puppets.
Yeah, but when you're young, I don't think you can like suspend disbelief, can you?
What was the what were we talking here? Early 80s, mid 80s, late 80s?
Yeah, 82 or something, I think.
Yeah, and I seem to remember it being on at like tea time. You know, like
on a Sunday or something.
Yeah, 5, 6
The
o'clock
scariest day of the week.
You see, then they should never have taken Black Beauty off. That's what I say.
Yeah, good though.
Yes.
Good show. So that's my number 2.
Very good.
Right,
Very
my
good.
number two. Okay, Blair Witch.
Oh,
The Blair Witch, because it's what you don't see
yes,
that fucks you up.
yes.
And you know, this is a villain, an antagonist in a horror film that you don't see. You don't quite know what's going on there. You don't know if it's real. You know, these 3 kids go off into the woods and they make this film, and then, you know, they're getting lost. People are fucking with their tents. It's just, it's the not knowing what's going. The not being able to.
I've come back as Zelda, but it's the wrong one.
It's the not being able to quantify what the Blair Witch is that I find so menacing.
Yeah, it's a scary film, that first one. Bloody
I love it. Absolutely love it. I love the second one as well, for its camp kitsch value. But
really started that generation of sort of found footage horrors, didn't it? Blair Witch.
Made a fortune as well, didn't it?
it did, yeah.
Like a budget of like 20 grand or something.
Yeah.
A bit more than 40 quid, but
Yeah, not much.
But you know, in terms of filmmaking, it was marketing to it's like next gen marketing, wasn't it? Again, talking about films that, you know, word of mouth spread that it's the most scariest film you're ever going to see in your life. You know, people throwing up or whatever, scared to watch it or leaving the cinema. That in those days, it kind of it was interesting because we didn't really have wide proliferation of the internet, but still word of mouth spread on
Yeah.
that film, and I don't quite know how they did it. I guess it must be like through press and like
Well, word of mouth, because it genuinely
Yeah.
was a really scary film, and I think a lot of
Yeah.
it because it was low budget, and it kind of felt like you were watching an 8mm footage kind of a thing, and it was very, very real.
I think it went round like that as well, where people also didn't. When people were talking about it, if they hadn't seen it, they're like, "What is it? It's a real footage." People like it was so new, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Like it hadn't
yeah.
been done, and
it was
incredible.
really into Blair Witch, but I really got into Paranormal Activity. Yeah, I didn't mind the first Paranormal Activity. I thought that had some interesting things and very clever things to like extract as much fear from you as it possibly could without showing a great deal. Again, very Blair Witch in how it did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Some
like
other-
all these horror films.
Some
they
other
get
comments
bastardised,
there as
don't they?
well, Stu. Previous comments. Some. Weird.
Oh, I've seen a movie called Let My Puppets Come, and it was not for children either. Okay,
Well, there you go.
See, that's why I love.
I
doing
meant
this
the
shit.
comment before that. Stu.
In the history of gory films, there was a kill in part 1. This is Terrifier. That was the worst kill I've ever seen in a movie ever.
Wow.
I think you need to elaborate on that.
That's something we'll talk about next Halloween. Our top 5 kills.
Yeah.
I think we did that last year.
Well, you did
Oh, but
everything
you weren't
last year
here.
when I
You
wasn't
were-
here, was I? When I was stuck in traffic.
Right, Rock, number 1. Come on, take us home. What's your
Well,
number one,
I
your most
mean,
villainous person
In my life,
culture?
the
Richard
most
Madeley.
yeah, similar. In my life, the most villainous individual that I've ever known is Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah, he's gone Thatcher.
It's the Thatch. I mean, there's never been anybody more. I mean, just on every level, there is nothing that you can redeem from with the Thatch. Just
gone.
destroyed our culture, destroyed society, destroyed production in industry. And just a thoroughly horrible human being.
Do you know what, though, Rock? I'm going to put a massive thorn in your ointment here and remind you, if you didn't know already, that Thatcher was integral in the invention of Mr. Whippy ice cream. Yep. Margaret Thatcher, when she was at Cambridge, her and some other people...
Oh, she was a chemist, wasn't she?
They
Yeah.
invented Mr. Whippy ice cream.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and that's why it is. That's why it
Wow.
is shit. It's nowhere near as good as your Haagen-Dazs, is it?
Oh,
Which was
awesome.
See, Haagen-Dazs was invented by, I don't know if you knew this, Jeremy Corbyn. So that's that there's definite nobody would eat it. That
I'm
would
not
if it
joking.
was.
Thatcher was involved in Whippy ice cream.
I knew she was a chemist and a food chemist. They called her Snotty Roberts, didn't they? And she changed her accent. Do you remember she had this horrible high-pitched accent when she first became a politician, and then by the time she became the PM, she had elocution lessons and slowed it down and gone for that kind of LA drawl.
Also, to sound deeper as well for people to take her more seriously.
Yeah, 100%. And she was to be fair to her, she was in a male-dominated environment.
Wasn't she like from some like Grantham or somewhere like
Yeah,
that? Somewhere
from
like
Grantham, yeah.
Quite
So I think
working class northern.
Well, I mean, her mum and dad owned a shop.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, in
An ice cream
terms,
shop.
yeah, in terms of Grantham, I don't know what it was actually. It might have been like a news agent,
It was
something
pub.
like
It was
that. I mean, it was she would have been upper working class, I would say,
Yeah.
maybe lower middle class, but aspired to be. I'm sure she had some redeeming factors, but she haunted me my entire youth. Yeah, and it's great portrayal in The Crown. If you ever watched the
I
series,
really
The
want to
Crown.
watch The Crown, but I just
Yeah.
can't bring myself
I
to
had a
do
picture.
it.
Yeah,
It's
there you go.
really good.
Is that
It's
Emma Thompson?
really
No,
good.
what's her name?
Gillian
Gillian
Anderson.
Anderson, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's now fully gone English, isn't she?
Yeah.
She's totally adopted the English accent now. Whatever she does, she fully does, and a very great English accent.
Well,
I
she's
think
English.
she is English, but went off to America.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
I think so, yeah.
I thought she was Canadian for some reason. I don't know why I thought that.
Jimmy, you have a twisted ant's arm, certainly because of the ice cream factor. So Ant is a Thatcherite.
Yep,
Thatcher's
me
ice
too.
cream, Mr. Whippy.
Thatcher's gold.
Thatcher's
I love
gold,
Gillian
yeah.
Anderson now. I think she's more attractive now than she's ever
I
been.
agree. I agree. Totally.
Fine wine.
Yes.
Jimmy. Oh, sorry, Rock.
No, I was going to say, whereas I feel Nicole Kidman's gone the opposite way. She was, she used to do it for me, but
She's never done it for me, Nicole Kidman.
No.
Oh wait, I saw her in a different light when she did that clapping thing at the Oscars. Do you remember that? She was clapping like that.
No, who does that?
Have you seen? I saw
Nicole
an image of. I saw an image of her the other day. I think it's her with Tom Cruise, and it's like. I think it's for Vanity Fair or whatever it is for one of those magazines. But the camera's panned out, and he's on a massive box.
He's
on a
tiny,
massive
isn't
box
he? Yeah.
to get him up there. I think he's 5'6" or something like that,
Wow.
and she's probably 5'11" or something. Yeah,
It was a mismatch, wasn't it?
well, it's one of his weird things, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jimmy.
Weirdy, cruisy.
He's
My
a
number
boy.
one.
Give me your numero uno, please.
Well, I thought everyone would have this as the number one. It's got to be Freddy Krueger, Mr. Krueger himself,
Yes, the Fred Meister.
for just looks and. I mean, it's such an iconic look, isn't it? When I remember him on the video covers as well, just that glove and the Burns victim face and the jumper. I mean, everything about it is incredible. And I only watched the first Nightmare on Elm Street film a few months back, didn't I? It was the first time I'd ever seen it, and I'd watched so many documentaries about it. I knew everything that was coming because I'd seen it. I'd seen like every scene from it, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was very, very funny, and he's so charismatic and
What's the name of the
interesting.
actor?
It's quite witty, isn't he? in parts?
Robert Englund.
Yes.
He does have a dry wit about him in the later films. He
I want
does
to watch
get
them
more
all.
comedic. He gets
Yeah,
more comedic as the film
I've never seen
goes
them.
on.
My wife's got them all, and we were going to work our way through them, but again, you just end up having to watch
Life.
other stuff, But just incredible. I mean, they did the remake, and I'd watched that where they had the chap who played Rorschach playing him, and I thought that was good, but he looked more like an actual Burns victim. Whereas the Freddy look is, he doesn't look like a Burns victim, does it? It's more like he's had the skin peeled from his.
Acid burns.
In that one there, he looks like Mackenzie Crook's Wurzel Gummidge.
He does. Yeah. Is that what's meant to be the case? That he's a Burns victim? Is that what it's? Is that the story?
Yeah,
He's a child molester, isn't he? Who gets who the parents take revenge on him. They burn him in a boiler room or something like that. And then he comes back to haunt the next generation of children from.
So he is
Elm
dead.
Street. Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if in the first one. I don't think they said he was a child molester. I think he killed kids. I think or something.
Okay.
I can't remember. I watched it the other day. The remake.
Child molester, that's the remake. I think they add in that.
They found lots of photographs and stuff.
Let's make him a pedo. What do people hate these days?
Yeah, Jonathan King. See, you laughed at my Jonathan King, but we're getting there.
Yeah. Stu?
Ant says, I really like Nightmare on Elm Street, A New Nightmare, which is really cool because it was about the movies. Yeah, it was about the movies were just movies and all of the cast played their real life self and Freddy becomes real. Yeah, that was quite meta, wasn't it?
That was like number 5, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah, it's I think it was like a mid-90s release.
Oh, so there was the actors. It was the actors who make the films as the actors that make the films, but then a Freddy actually comes and
breaks the fourth wall and starts stalking the actors.
They were running out of ideas, clearly.
Freddy in space,
which they didn't they?
That's it. My number one. I'm surprised he's not at least in your list, Jimmy.
Is it Voldemort?
No. It's
I
one.
feel like I'm in on this joke.
I know.
It's one Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
Oh no,
Mr. McMahon. Sorry, Mark. This is we might have to talk wrestling.
Is he a wrestler?
He is.
Ah,
But I'm talking the character of Mr. McMahon.
right.
Okay. But why I've picked him as number one? Let me get a picture up him.
Vince McMahon owns WWE. Rock.
Is he the guy that wears the suit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he actually owns
Does he?
WWE. He's the
Wow.
guy. He's just retired, but he's been the guy for the last 40.
Still
40
looks like
years?
Freddie. Was he a wrestler and then set it up?
No, his dad owned it,
Right.
and he was a. What did he do at first? He did interviews, didn't he? And his
He
dad
was,
didn't want
yeah.
him to be a wrestler,
Right.
but he really liked it, and then he took over it. And then he bought up all the other wrestling companies, and he put it all into one. And then he was a commentator for years, and then, well, Stu, you can go into this.
Well,
bit, what
and then
happened.
kind of like reality blended with fiction, and he became an on-screen persona. You know, it kind of let loose, like in mid to late 90s. They started to kind of just accept the fact that people know that wrestling's it's all faking, it's all a sham, and people start to know that Vince ran the company. So they kind of played up to that, and Vince played up to that by just becoming this maniacal like CEO boss type character that who kind of came up against Stone Cold Steve Austin. I don't know if you know who that is.
Yes.
Right?
Well, I do know. I mean, I know the characters and the names and things. I just don't.
Well, it started with the screw job, didn't it? Bret the Hitman Hart was screwed over in Montreal in real life. They fixed the match. Bret spat in his face and left the company and went to WCW, and then that all started this thing with him. And as you say, the Stone Cold Steve Austin feud.
And why I've made him number one is because I think it's very difficult to find where Mr. McMahon ends and where Vince begins.
Right.
Because I think they're very much one in the same.
Right.
Both horrendously awful characters, just people or characters. They're just awful, but he plays it so well, and he's so charismatic that you can't help like him.
He's worth $2 billion.
He does horrible things to people. He's not a nice man. He's not a pleasant man, but he's created this thing that I love, and I don't know. He's kind of a next level business genius. It's fascinating.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
I just can't help but love him and what he's done. But he's a horrible man.
Unfortunately, most of those most successful businessmen are arseholes, aren't they? That's where they are, because they don't give a shit. Don't give a shit about anything or anyone. No. And to do that, you can get to that top place.
But I do think also he was at times he must have had some kind of creative genius about him, because to come up with the Vince character and have him play up against the Stone Cold character. You had the working class, hard-working man coming up against the corporate corporate kind of bastard, and it was just a fascinating period in wrestling. And there's many other factors that made that period so good, but at its core, it's just like that key idea of the working man going up against his boss. It's like living the dream, isn't it? Really,
he's only retired fairly recently, then July in the summer, after a
It's
sex scandal.
Yes.
Another few sex scandals, I think.
Another reason.
A few.
But he's my ultimate villain.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
What an odd trio. That is not what I expected to finish up with.
Yeah.
Margaret Thatcher, Freddy Krueger, and Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
That's a table for three, isn't it? I'd like to see that.